Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So CraftDee. For today's DIY projects, we're going to be transforming some Dollar Tree items and wood into some elegant fall decor for your home. Now, we can decorate these for fall or change out the greenery to coordinate with your own home's decor and style. Now, as always, all of the projects I create have a complete supply list in the description box, so you can easily use it for reference as you gather up your supplies. Now, before we start, I have to say hey to all of my subscribers, and if you are a new visitor to my channel today, I hope you consider subscribing as well and stick around to enjoy these crafts and all the tips and tricks along the way. So now let's just jump right into those projects today. Now this project is a wood house style basket. We're going to need 2 of these wood house dry erase or chalkboards from the Dollar Tree. We'll need 1 of these natural wood signs from the Dollar Tree. We'll need some 1-gallon paint stir sticks, and I got these from Home Depot. And we'll need some large Quart craft sticks also from the Home Depot. Now we're going to start off with those 1-gallon paint stir sticks. We're going to go ahead and cut off those handles, and I did this with my miter saw, and this is what you're left with, and these are about 9 inches. Go ahead and unpackage them and put 2 sticks to the side, and for the remaining 8 we're going to be staining these, so we need to sand off all of those numbers, and after sanding, here they are all ready to go. So go ahead and grab your house and grab your sign. Now we need to cut the width of the sign, the width of the bottom of one of the houses. So I'm going to mark that width at the very end and a little bit ways down. So we're going to go ahead and mark that there as well. Go ahead and take your ruler, join those 2 markings to make a straight line. Now we're going to grab one of those stir sticks. Now this will be the width of the basket. So we're going to mark the very end of the width of that stir stick, or the length of that stir stick, draw another line, and now we'll have that shape that we need for the bottom of our basket. Now to cut this out is really easy. We're going to use our utility blade, and I'm going to use a metal ruler. Just be very careful when cutting these. These blades are very sharp. Just drag it across 2 or 3 times and it should snap right off, and then cut that other side as well. So we'll have the perfect size according to our measurements for the bottom of our basket. Now once that's done, we're going to grab a house. Now I did want to cover up that dry erase board on the side, and this is where those craft sticks come into play. Now of course you could use the craft sticks from Dollar Tree as well. They're a little smaller, so you might have to tile them, but both looks will look great on this piece. So I'm just going to start by cutting these long pieces in a vertical plank style. So I'm going to start by cutting 1 along the bottom really even, and then I'm going to start marking those angles with my pencil, and then using my ruler to connect those markings. Now when you start cutting these at the angles, they should fit right inside of the house, and we're going to repeat this for every one of the sticks that goes inside until they all fit. Now you just want to take them out and lay them out side by side, and we're going to use these as a template to make a second set for the other house. And once it's done, here are both sets. So now what's left to do is just to glue these wood planks inside of each one of the houses, and I'm just using, I have wood hot glue in my glue gun, and I'm just going to actually just glue these side by side inside of the house. Just make sure they're snug fit together to avoid any gaps. And here are both of the houses with the planks installed, and we're going to go ahead and remove those stickers from the back. So now we can start assembling our basket, and we're going to put one of those houses at the end of that wood plank that we just cut out. Now I am using my wood hot glue for this. You could definitely use wood glue as well. So I'm going to put 2 lines of that wood glue at the bottom of the house and sit it flush at the end of one of that plank. Rotate it around and put the other house. Now you do want to make sure that the side that you covered with your wood sticks is facing outward on that wood plank, and this is what the side mounts will look like. And now we're just going to take our paint stir sticks that we cut down. We're going to put 4 on each side and just space them evenly apart. Add a line of that wood hot glue on each side and then press them firmly into place. Now we're going to do this for all 4 of our sticks. Now here are 4 sticks all secured on one side. We're going to flip it over and repeat that process. And here is everything nice and bonded. Let me tell you guys, this thing is solid. I love working with the wood hot glue. It's a lot stronger than standard hot glue. And as you can see, I am tossing this thing around. It's not going anywhere. It is really solid. Now, if you wanted to reinforce it, you definitely can follow up with a staple gun on the front, putting 1 staple at the end of each one of the sticks. You can use a brad nailer or a small nails on each side too if you wish, and you can also go along the bottom of the houses as well. Now, I'm only going to do one side of my basket. I found that I really didn't need it, but I wanted to demonstrate for you guys. So now it's time to stain. So I have a small cup of water, and I have another cup that I'm going to be using my Waverly Antique Wax in to dilute it. So I'm just going to put some wax in there, and then I'm going to add some water, probably about maybe 1/3 of the amount of wax, and then mix that in really thoroughly. Now this just helps to spread the product and makes it last a little longer. And I'm going to use my paintbrush to apply it to the inside first. We want to get around the bottom, the inside of the planks, and the inside of those houses. And now it's time to do the outside. You want to go around the outside with the mixture as well. Here it is all nice and covered. And don't forget to follow up with a paper towel to remove any excess stain or liquid that may be a residual on your project. Now, once you had a chance to let it sit out and dry, here is what it looks like. It's so gorgeous. And now the fun part, time to decorate your piece. And here it is on display, you guys. I love how this turned out. Now, I've chosen to decorate with some neutral fall florals, some pumpkins and greenery for these projects, but you can select any type of decor that you love. Now, I do think the little houses were perfect for this project, and I do love how it all came together. Now, you all have to let me know in the comments, what do you think about this project? Now, this project is a set of beaded pumpkins. We're going to need 2 of these Halloween decor pumpkins from the Dollar Tree that have little lights at the bottom. Now, in order to prepare our pumpkins, we are going to remove everything around the outside, starting with the tags, and then removing all of that clear mesh. We're going to remove that until all we have left is a wire frame and the little light socket at the bottom. We're going to leave the light on for this project. Now, to trim these out, I'm going to be using these brown beads that I had on hand from Walmart clearance Garland, or you can use the beads from the Dollar Tree, and you can definitely stain these to match. Now, for our pumpkin, you notice there are some wide rings and there are some short rings. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting the wide rings for this project. So what I'm going to do is take a pair of wire clippers, and at the very top base near that hoop, we are going to cut the wide rings away from the center. And we're going to do this all the way around our pumpkin. So what we want to do next is go ahead and grab some of our beads and make sure you catch those runaways there. And so we're going to go ahead and we are going to be adding these to those wide rings that we cut away. Now, these just glide onto those rings. This is so easy. So you just feed these on to each one of those rings all the way around until you have maybe 3/4 of an inch of that wire left at the top. Now, here are all the beads around every other ring that is the wide ring, and this is what it would look like when you are done applying them. Now, while I'm working, some of those beads may shift, so what I like to do is for the very last ring that was put on, I'll put some hot glue inside of it and slide it back onto that wire piece, and this just holds everything in place while you're working and keeps everything from sliding off those metal pieces. So now that those are all locked into place, we are going to secure those metal pieces back to the center of the metal ring. Now I am going to be using my wood hot glue for this. It's really strong for this project. You could definitely use E6000 or Gorilla Glue, Super Glue, or whatever adhesive that you prefer, but I did find that this worked well for this project. So I'm just going around, and at the end of each one of those wire pieces, when we connect it back to the center, I just want to hold it in place 5 or 10 seconds and then move on to the next one, and it will bond almost instantly with this wood hot glue. Now here are all the pieces all secured back in place on the ring. Now you can actually disconnect that middle ring as well if you want to put another layer of beads, but I wanted to do something different for this, so I'm going to be using some of this macrame cord that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Now if you don't have macrame cord, you could just use a double or triple layer of yarn and it'll work the same way. So what I'm going to do with this macrame cord is you could wrap it around those rings, but what I decided to do is actually just kind of do a chain stitch with the macrame cord just to make it a little bit more bulky and give it a pattern. So you make one little loop, and then you're just going to feed that cord back through the loop and pull, and you're just going to repeat this. Just feed it through the loop and pull, and this is just basic chain stitch. If I have any knitters or crocheters out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead and just chain stitch a length that is the length of that wire on the inside that we are going to be covering up. So once we get a piece that's just about long enough, we're just going to compare it to our form just to make sure it is long enough. Now we don't want it too long because we don't want it to overlap. We want it to be just as long. So it's better to go longer, and then you can pull some of those stitches out rather than too short. So once we determine that this is the right length, just cut that tail off and just feed it right back through that last loop and pull, and that should lock everything into place. Now we are going to need a total of 6 of these because we have 6 of those wires on our pumpkin, and here are all 6 ready to go for our project. Now it has a braid look on one side, and then it has a unique chain look on the back. I want the back to be the outside of my project, so I'm going to lay it with the braid look side down. Now to apply this is really easy. I'm just going to run that hot glue all down the wire a couple of inches at a time and just apply that piece right in the center all the way down until you reach the bottom. And this is what it will look like all applied in place. You just repeat it all the way around your pumpkin until this is what it looks like. And now we just go around and we're just going to cut those stems around the tails of each one of those chain link pieces. Now definitely follow up with a dot of hot glue on each one of the ends just to lock it in place and keep it from unraveling. But this is what the final result will look like when you apply it in place. Now as you notice, you can kind of see that wire on the inside where we laid that macrame cord, but I have a quick fix for that. I just have some ivory acrylic paint, and I'm taking a really small paintbrush and I'm just dabbing it along the wire on the inside of the pumpkin. Now you're going to do this all the way around the inside, and as you can see, that wire has totally disappeared. You don't even see it. So that is a quick fix for that if you decide to go with a lighter macrame cord. So now we have this little ring at the top. There's a couple things you can do to finish this off. You can use some Dollar Tree jute twine, or you could use some neutral colored ribbon like burlap ribbon. You could use polka dot ribbon, whatever you choose. And the ways you could do this is just a simple wrap around. I've done this lots of times on my pumpkin projects, and but what I decided on this project was actually take the cording, the jute cord, and just wrap it around and loop it around that loop, just covering it up instead of wrapping it around the whole thing. The purpose of this is just to keep that loop open. This will help me to apply and remove the different greenery that I want to embellish this piece in. So I'm just going to keep looping it around until the whole loop is covered, and then when it's finally done, wrap it around the bottom and tie it in a knot, and this is what it will look like. it's time to take your embellishments and add them. And now for what I chose is this little greenery pick that I got at Dollar Tree. I love the neutral colors of this. It's got some pumpkins, some berries, some pine cones and leaves, and I'm just going to kind of bend up that stem a little bit, and then I'm going to stick it through that loop on there and just organize the greenery how I like. I ended up adding a little piece of boxwood as well for fullness, and then zip tied everything in place on the pumpkin, and this is what it looks like. So super cute. Now for my second pumpkin, all I did was strip it down just like I did the first time, and this time I'm going to remove that little light switch at the bottom for a different option. Now what we're going to do for this pumpkin is we are going to be using those Dollar Tree beads, and I'm going to need a couple packages here, and we are going to be applying these on every one of the rings of this pumpkin. Now we don't want to disconnect all the rings out at once. So I'm doing half of the pumpkin at a time, because if you disconnect everything at once, that ring will be detached, and we want that to stay in place. So I went and disconnected half of the rings all the way around the pumpkin, and I'm going to go ahead and put those beads on all of those rings on that half side. And here they are on half of the pumpkin so far, and just like we did before, we are going to follow up by securing that last bead in place with a little hot glue just to keep everything locked into place. Just give a little squeeze of hot glue, you really don't need much, and this is just to keep it from falling off the pumpkin while you are working to secure everything in place. Now once you've done that for that half of the pumpkin, now it's time to re-secure those rings to that center ring at the very top. Again, I am using my wood hot glue. You could definitely use E6000, Gorilla Glue, Super Glue, or any adhesive that you know and love. And so you just hold it in place for about 10 or 15 seconds and work your way around. And here is half of the pumpkin all in place. Now while that is nice and secure, you want to wait at least a couple of minutes and then disconnect and connect the other side of the pumpkin the same way, and here is the whole thing covered in beads. So super cute. Now you guys, my camera did stop when adding the topper to my pumpkin, but what I used are these stems from the Dollar Tree. I did cut off that metal ring off the top of the pumpkin, and then I just hot glued one of those wood stems on top. I think this is the perfect accent for this neutral pumpkin. Now I really wanted to go for a very clean and simplistic look for this, so what I did is grab a couple of boxwood stems, and I'm gonna just embellish it on each side, just kind of letting it naturally drape down the sides, and then placing just a dab of hot glue on the back of the stem, securing those boxwood stems in place. Now there's lots of different options to display this. You can keep this like this. I did remove the light from it, but if you wanted to add another different light, you can use a battery tea light to put in the center, and that is just a super cute accent to this piece. And here are both of these beauties on display. I mean, how adorable are these pumpkins? Now I do love using the wood beads to accent these pieces, as well as the macrame cord. Now these turned out so super cute, and they can be customized to your own style and taste. Now whether you choose a two-tone effect or you really want to go for a very sweet neutral, these are really super easy and fun to make. Now I do hope you give this super fun DIY a try. Now this project is a triple pumpkin table decor. Now we're going to need one of these triple pumpkin pieces for $3 from the Dollar Tree Plus section. Now, my original plan with this was to take 3 Dollar Tree crates and adhere them to the bottom of this pumpkin set. Now, what I did find is that any greenery I would add to the crates would actually cover up those beautiful pumpkins in the back, so I decided to take a different route for this project. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add greenery along the bottom. So first we're going to go ahead and get it stained. So I am going to be using my Waverly Antique Wax to do this. Again, I'm going to have a little cup of water and a little cup for my Waverly Wax, and just add a little bit of wax into that cup, and then add just a touch of water, about 1/3 of the amount, and mix that in very well. Now this does extend your product and it allows you to use a paintbrush to put it on. Now I sometimes use a cloth to put it on if it's thicker, but I found that the paintbrush is really simple and easy. So we're just going to go ahead and add that stain color to all of our pumpkins, and you can see it highlights that beautiful ridge color. Now once you apply it all, don't forget to follow up with a paper towel and remove all of that excess, and then allow it to dry. And now that it's dry, we can add our greenery. So I found these really cute floral picks at the Dollar Tree. They come with flowers, pumpkins, pine cones, some sprigs in there, and we can add that to the bottom of our pumpkins. Now, of course, you can hot glue this, but you know me, I love to make my projects interchangeable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my drill and I'm going to drill a hole through the bottom middle pumpkin, and I want to make this hole big enough that a zip tie can fit through. I'm just going to grab a zip tie, I'm going to feed it through the back of my sign, and then feed it back through that same hole, creating a loop on the front. And now you could just stick the tails of any greenery of your choosing through that little loop, and you can add more than one stem. You can add multiple stems if you like. You just want to make sure that your greenery is situated the way that you want it to be displayed, and you can shift it, bend it. You know, these are usually wired stems, so you just want to arrange them like you like, and once they are how you like them, you can pull that zip tie in the back and then finish up all your arrangement. Now I did want to embellish the top of my pumpkins. Originally I thought about wrapping them with jute twine, but I made a decision to go ahead and add some burlap ribbon bows. So I'm just going to tie this simple little small bow out of this burlap ribbon, and I'm going to be embellishing the stems of each one of my pumpkins. Now once your bow is made, I'm just going to cut a little angle cut at the bottom. You can cut dovetails or whatever you prefer for your little bows if you decide to put bows on your pumpkins. Now once you've made your first one, just make 2 more, so you'll have all 3 for your pumpkins, and we are going to add one to the stem of each one of the pumpkins in this display. Now I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of hot glue to the back, just in case I decide one day to remove them and replace them with a different color. And you just want enough to hold it in place, but not so permanent. So I just put a dot there and added each one of the bows on the top of the stem. So here they are, all nice and applied. And now what I'm going to do is kind of fill in the center. Now I was experimenting with a couple of different floral arrangements. You'll see a different arrangement at the end of the video, but you could use flowers. I end up using some wheat stems from the Dollar Tree, and I also put a clippy pumpkin in the center in a neutral color. And let me tell you guys, just coordinating these beautiful neutral florals is so satisfying, and I love it. Now I think this is super adorable and very unique. And there you have it, you guys, a beautiful fall season display for your home. Now I really do love the wood tone on tone with the florals. It's just so beautiful. And of course it's interchangeable too, which is a bonus. Now all of these DIYs today were so fun to create, and I hope that I've inspired you to get creative. Now I really do love them all, but you all have to let me know in the comments below which one of these projects was your favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So CraftDee on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, if you like videos like these and don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below, or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and make sure you hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.